right? So he's even spoken in Canada, believe it or not. Yeah, where is that, right? He has spoken on the prestigious TED conference, and his marketing blog, Two Hat Marketing, has been listed as one of the top marketing blogs by Ad Age, Power 150, and his 6 books that he's written for have been featured in over 250 publications: Fast Company, Business Week, Fortune, Wall Street Journal, The Washington Post, Sales and Marketing, Management, and most importantly, he is Kelly's dad. So he's such an important speaker to us, and he's actually a really good friend, and he's a phenomenal marketer. I've actually hired him to help us and our sponsors, so I am a client as well. He's a great idea guy. He's really kind of funny, and hopefully he'll tell you his prostitute story maybe. If he doesn't, either way, we decided to put together a great welcome video, so let's play the Steve Miller welcome video.
I'm the Joker, I'm the smoker, I'm a oh, hello there. So our next speaker needs no introduction, even though I'm here to introduce him. The writer of hit songs like The Joker and Fly Like an Eagle, Steve Miller. What? He's not that's Steve Miller? The one with the dead armadillo? What in the world? Well, okay, here comes the other Steve Miller, who will show you how to take your business and brand so far to the next level, it'll be in the stratosphere. Take it away, Steve.
I know you're going to use that at your next conference, aren't you?
I need that video.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Robbins the Ellen DeGeneres of the IT world, ladies and gentlemen. Innovation is hard. And to give you an idea what I'm talking about, I think a lot of you went onto my website and watched the video, the webinar that I had done about innovation versus improvement. I saw that there were quite a few views in there, so I think most of you did. Either that or Tom Malasik watched it, 200 times. I don't know, which he may have done. But in that, I talked a little bit about the history of music. So, and back in 1956, Chrysler came out with a car with a turntable in it. Is there anybody in here old enough to remember the car with the turntable in it? Let me see your hands, if you're able to. If you can raise your hands. Okay. Got one over here. You can help him get his hands up. Turntables were these records that were these round black things. Not CDs. They were not CDs. No. And I want you to think about that for a second, that you flip down this 45, it flipped down from underneath the dashboard, and then you put your 45s on it, and those were the smaller round, never mind. So then you start playing your music, and you're driving down the road, and of course the needle is skipping along. That's very practical. And there was this guy who had just started, who was an engineer at Motorola, who had just left Motorola to start a company called Learjet, a guy named Bill Lear, who thought, well, this is a really good idea to bring your own music along with you, but obviously, a record player in a car is not a good idea. So he went out looking for somebody who was a specialist in audio engineering, and he found my dad, Ralph Miller, and together they started a company that was very cleverly called Learjet Stereo, and then they invented and developed the very first 8-track tape player. And the 8-track was a game changer. Basically, if you take a look at where we are today with streaming audio and MP3s and everything like that, and you work your way back, the 8-track was the game changer. It was an innovative product that totally made everything different. It changed the whole music industry. It exploded the music industry beyond records, because now you weren't just restricted to keeping your music at home and listening to music at home. You were able to take it with you, in the car. And there were some portable 8-track tape players. They weren't real practical as far as size goes, but there were portable ones, right? But then, you know, the 8-track had a very short life. If those of you that remember, anybody still have an 8-track, by the way? Look at that. Put me through college, thank you. The 8-track, you know, then, after a very short period of time, there was a product that actually had already been on the market for a number of years, had been used primarily as a dictating instrument, and that was the Philips audio cassette. And when they figured out how they could record stereo music, beside, you know, in addition to just voice, then that became a game changer. So innovation, both the 8-track and the audio cassette. Now, think about this for a second. You heard the story, those of you that heard the story on my webinar, you know that my dad then, in response to the Philips electronic 8-track tape, to the Philips audio cassette player, in response to theirs, because what made theirs better? What made theirs so much more popular? Primarily, I mean, it was small, it could fit in your hand, right? That alone was a very big deal, right? The 8-track could not fit in your hand. But they also did a couple of other things that the original 8-tracks could not do. It could fast forward, it could rewind, it could record, it could do all of those things. And the original 8-track players did not do that. So what did my dad and his team do? Well, they said, oh, okay, what we can do is we can put record features. You know, we can add recording to the 8-track, and so they did that. We can do fast forward. We can do that. And you know what? We're going to do something that they have not done and they probably cannot do simply because of the size of the tape. We can create quadraphonic surround sound. It was still dead. The 8-track was still dead, despite the fact that they added these features to this. Because why? The audio cassette was the game changer. It was the innovative product. It was the game changer. And when my dad and his team, despite the fact that they had been the original game changer, despite that fact, they didn't understand that the answer to the audio cassette had to be another game changer. So in other words, what they did was they took the 8-track and they made it better. They thought, well, we'll just improve the 8-track, because that's essentially what they did. They improved the 8-track by adding these features. But the fact that it still did not rewind, you could not rewind an 8-track, and you could not hold it in the palm of your hand easily, right? And you know the 8-track, and I got to tell you, even though the 8-track was my dad's product, the one thing that really kind of made me crazy about it in the beginning, before it had that fast forward, was that when I was listening to Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle, and I wanted to hear the song again. Those of you that remember, you still have 8-tracks and remember the 8-tracks, you had to keep driving around the block, right? You know, to hear it again. You know? And you know, but even though they added this stuff, it was still dead. Because improvement was not enough to overcome the innovation of the new product. Innovation, as I said, innovation is a game changer. It's really a great way of looking at it. Innovation is a game changer. If you're trying to be innovative and you are looking at doing things innovatively, you are looking at changing the game. And I'm not necessarily talking about just product innovation. You know, I'm talking about marketing innovation. I'm talking about customer service innovation. I'm talking about anything that you can do that might be a game changer in the way the business game is played. Is innovation. If it is not, if it is just better, then it's just an improvement. And odds are it will be caught up with quickly, copied quickly, and it will no longer be really that big of a deal. And the big lesson, and this is the lesson I did not talk about in the webinar, the biggest lesson that I learned about this situation with my dad, because for many years after that, my dad was, you know, and I hate to say this, I mean, my dad ended up being kind of an angry guy, because he knew he had this great product, the 8-track, and in fact, in his mind, he always thought that the the audio quality of the 8-track was superior to the audio cassette, and it probably was. But it wasn't enough of a difference to make a difference to those of us out there who are just normal people, unlike the geniuses like my dad. But the lesson that I learned from the 8-track story was that the last thing you want to be is very, very good at something nobody wants to pay for. And you look at your world, the IT world, and I don't know, I think it's changing. It's probably changing faster than the 8-track changed into the audio cassette, and changed into the CD player, and changed into DVDs, and changed into MP3s, and changed it. I mean, it's that's the way technology is. You guys are moving at the speed of time.